Chapter 4 Burning Saddle When Danny awoke the next morning, his cheeks were swollen and blue. His eyes wouldn't open. His face was covered in dark, dried blood. Danny felt a gun barrel strike his ribs. He rubbed his eyes and looked up to see a rifle pointed at his chest. He lay on his back, surrounded by soldiers. "That's one fiery-eyed Navajo," the soldier said. He laughed and poked Danny again in the rib cage. The nickname stuck. From that day forward, Danny Blackgoat was known to the soldiers as Fire-Eye. "We should make an example of him, just like we did to that old man," said a young cavalry officer. "Every Navajo needs to know we'll shoot 'em if they run." "We can hang him," said another. "It's hard to cause trouble from the end of a rope." Long minutes of silence passed. Though he couldn't understand a single word, Danny knew his life was in danger. The excitement was over, and the soldiers were deciding if he would live or die. The scorpion sting and cactus needle sent jolts of pain through Danny's body, pain like he never felt before. His face throbbed, but worst of all, Danny Blackgoat felt helpless for the first time in his life. A strong voice cut the silence. "There is one way to handle a troublemaker that never fails." The speaker was a captain with hard blue eyes and a trim white beard. "Humiliation is worse than death," he went on. "We can chain this Fire-Eye boy and drape him over a horse, tie him like a saddle and parade him in front of the others." The soldiers nodded in agreement. Danny felt another stab of the rifle barrel to his ribs. "Hear that, Fire-Eye? You're going to get to ride a horse." Two soldiers dragged Danny away from the camp, while another brought the horse. "Remove the saddle," shouted the captain. "Bring the handcuffs and a rope." He ripped Danny's shirt from his back and tied it around his neck. Then Danny was handcuffed and stretched over the horse. A soldier yanked hard on his wrists. "Ow!" Danny shouted. "Give me your rifle," the captain ordered the soldier. He gripped the rifle by the barrel and slammed the rifle butt hard on Danny's back. "Not one word out of you, Fire-Eye," he whispered in a mean, quiet voice. "You are lucky to be alive." The soldiers wrapped Danny over the horse like a saddle. They tied his hands to his feet. His shirt waved like a flag for everyone to see. His back faced the sky and the hot rays of the desert sun. "All right, time to march," the captain said as he climbed on his horse. They rode to their places for the day's walk. "Here," said the captain, "I'll take Fire-Eye. We have a visit to make." He took the reins and turned his horse to the rear of the line. "You say his family is near the end?" the captain asked. "Yes, sir, behind the food wagon," a soldier replied, pointing to Danny's family. "Fine," said the captain. "They need to know their boy is still alive." He rode in a slow gallop, making sure everyone saw his captive. When he heard a woman cry out, he smiled. "I think we found your family, Fire-Eye." Danny knew his mother's voice. He lifted his head and shouted, "I am all right, Mother." The captain pounded his fist on the back of Danny's head. "Did I say you could talk?" He yanked the shirt like a noose and lifted Danny's face. "Go ahead, Fire-Eye, let them get a good look at you." Danny's father wrapped his arms around his mother and sister. He held them close while his grandfather whispered a prayer. Danny dropped his head and closed his eyes. He felt a deep sorrow for bringing so much grief to his family. The captain jerked the reins and rode to the front of the walkers. For the remainder of the day, Danny was paraded up and down the line. The soldiers took turns leading his horse. Once in the morning and once more in the afternoon, the waterman let him sip from the cup. "Just enough to keep him alive," said the captain. "Fire-Eye is worth more to us alive than dead, but if he does die, we'll parade his body for a few days, then let them walk over it. Same with the bread. Give him just enough to keep him alive." By noon on the second day, blisters formed on Danny's back. When the blisters popped, flies crawled over the wounds. Soon a buzzard spotted Danny covered in flies. 5 black birds of death swooped down to get a closer look. Every day as the bugle sounded, Danny was led from one end of the line to the other. At the campfire each night, the captain bragged about his plan. "What did I tell you?" he said. "Since we saddled Fire-Eye and let them all get a look, nobody has tried to escape." Next time we don't have to wait, said a soldier. Just find a young Injun and make a saddle out of him. The others laughed. Danny never knew how many days he had been strapped to the horse. He almost died from thirst. He grew so thin his mother hid her eyes and cried when she saw him. His skin bled from the blisters, and his body swelled. As the long walk of the Navajos neared Bosque Redondo and Fort Sumner, Danny was more asleep than awake. Though his body ached and throbbed, his dreams were of the past. In his dreams he walked his sheep to the far end of the canyon. He watched them drink the cool spring waters and graze on the grasses. He felt a cool breeze on his cheeks and was glad to be Navajo.